Hey guys, Uncle Ray, welcome to another episode of the Crypto Bellwether. I don't always tell you what you want to hear, but I tell you what you need to hear to make informed decisions. Now, I have a financial background and I do my research for me and I share with my community. And I just went down about a 10-hour rabbit hole because of an article I found about tokenized assets. And that rabbit hole just went on and on and on. And it reminded me of things I already knew, but I want to share with you guys. And I highly encourage you guys to do some research. If this triggers you or if you think I'm wrong, just do some real research. And it may not make you a ton of money, but it will save you a ton of money in the long run. I feel confident. Now, it's not financial advice. Do your own research. And before we dive into it, hit that like button. And now, at the end of this video, based on that 10-hour deep dive, I'm going to give you a token that I highly recommend you put on your radar and go take a look at it. All right, let's dive into it. Now, I was watching a podcast where they were interviewing one of the biggest players in tokenized assets, and he's linked to JP Morgan and a lot of the really, really big players. And I had never heard of them. And in that podcast, they talked about how that the CEOs of these major corporations don't really understand the difference between crypto and blockchain. Well, this CEO basically said, look, tokenized assets is going to change the game, and it relates across the board to DeFi, to payments, everything, because in the future, everything is going to be tokenized. And there are a lot of major blockchains out there that we've never heard of. We don't even know they exist, but they're major corporations building private blockchains with hundreds of developers, and they have a roadmap, just like JP Morgan, just like Swift, just like what you see on this screen, HSBC. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about. And I'm going to bring some new technology and some new blockchains and new competitors to your attention. And again, like I said, do your own research. But the real reason I'm doing this video is because a lot of people seem to think that crypto is just like investing in stock and that this new tech is going to change the world and their favorite blockchain is probably going to be the centerpiece. Well, okay, I'm not even going to debate it. I wish someone would do some research about the competition across the board, and I wish someone would list the biggest blockchains out there that are corporations, like the JP Morgan chain. I don't know how much it does. From my understanding, it does about $2 billion a day in transactions, and they're just getting started. Anyway, that's what we're going to dive into. And like I said at the end, I'm going to give you a token because of this podcast that we should all take a look at. All right. What you see on the screen, this is an old article, but it's about HSBC moves 20 billion from paper to blockchain, one of the biggest financial deployments. Now, that was 4 years ago, but they recently just came out and said they are tokenizing bonds and tokenizing gold on their private blockchain. I don't know how big this blockchain is, but I can almost promise you that it's probably in the top 50, if not the top 25, based on volume and adoption, which is really what matters. Anyway, I want to bring another company to your attention, and this company is changing the game. It is definitely a leader when it comes to the flow of money, up there with the likes of JP Morgan. Now, bear with me because it keeps spinning right now. My computer's slow, but it's FIS Global. And FIS Global is one of the most powerful corporations out there that work with banks. Check this out. In 2022, they processed over $40 trillion. Check this out. 95% of the major banks around the world work with FIS Global. They are doing basically everything you hear like Ripple and XRP wants to do with a liquidity pool and tying into the banks. Guys, they've already done that. And they are literally one of the biggest players with their private blockchain out there. So do some research, guys. I highly recommend you go to their website. Now check this out. I found this interesting. A lot of people think there's going to be a ton of competitors with Swift. And quite frankly, there are a lot of competitors. I'll be honest, if I was a developer or a corporation, if I wasn't already a big major player in payments, I would not even remotely get into that game. It's one of the most competitive sectors out there, bar none. But check this out. Floki unveils roadmap with Swift and SEPTA integration. Floki plans global payments, debit cards, Viva regulated bank partners. Now, people don't really understand the roadmap of Swift, but guys, I'm here to tell you that they are not going to lose adoption or their place in the flow of payments. They are one of the biggest players out there, and they are going to gain market share. And when you read their roadmap, it's pretty impressive. And when it comes to like the ISO tokens, I assume Floki's going to be one. There's going to be an unlimited amount of rails going in and out of Swift. But here's the deal. If you research that, the only ISO or banking token of any substance that's going to change the game that we can invest in for the most part is Link. Link is the gateway for Swift. So if XRP, XLM, HBAR, IOTA, whoever, Floki, if they go in and out of Swift, Swift is like New York City, and those are the roads. And if some of those roads disappear or come and go, Swift could care less. And when it comes to Link, every time a rail comes in and every time a rail goes out, well, they're using Link. That's 2 transactions. Something to think about. Now, here's the corporation that I found out about in a couple of different articles in that 10-hour rabbit hole. It's called Oasis Pro, and they convert real-world assets into digital form with Oasis Pro tokenization. Complete control over your assets regardless of the asset type or blockchain. Well, I'd never heard of those guys. Anyway, when I went down the rabbit hole, it linked them to Providence Blockchain and JP Morgan and a lot of other powerful players. Now here's a video, and I'll link this at the end. You can watch the full thing, but I'm just going to play a little bit so you'll understand what this is.
Full-service investment bank and FINRA member, Oasis Pro Markets is the first SEC-registered alternative trading system for trading digital asset securities in exchange for digital cash, opening up the world of potential opportunities in private market assets. From the onset, we make it easy for investors to onboard onto our ATS so that they can transact in digital securities for digital cash or fiat. The Oasis Pro Markets ATS allows for trading digital asset securities in exchange for digital cash, which can then be settled on the blockchain, creating immediate real-time settlement and limiting counterparty risk. The Oasis Pro Markets ecosystem provides regulatory compliance capabilities, reduces back-office costs, and unlocks liquidity by enabling real-world assets to be fractionalized and traded in smaller increments.
That's just a taste of what they're up to. But guys, these are the biggest players in the world working together. It's regulated. It's already SEC approved. Now, I watched another podcast and was talking about how PayPal, Venmo, Zelle, Cash App were all working together. They're getting into the crypto arena. And guys, look at the customers they already have. And there's another corporation out there, and what they're up to, they're working with a private blockchain, their own blockchain, and they're going to run also through HBAR. But what they're doing is they're tokenizing each side of the transaction. And I've heard JP Morgan talk about this with atomic settlement. In the future, guys, probably 98% of all the tokens out there are not going to are going to disappear. They're not needed. And the way it was explained to me is like if I have $1,000 and I want to convert that into I want to take that $1,000 and send it somewhere like through another currency or whatever. Well, if I was going to do that, I have to have regulation, not only in the United States, but all around the world. It's an amazing amount of license you have to have just to be sending money. Well, the way they can get around that is if I take my $1,000 and they tokenize that and put it in, I guess, a smart contract or NFT or both, then they use DLT technology and then they convert it on the back end into whatever they need to. Well, then, because they didn't send any money, it doesn't need to be regulated. There's a lot of ways that these major corporations and the banks and the big players like JP Morgan are getting around regulation, but they're doing it legally. And I personally believe that's just like, in politics, they try to distract us from what's really happening. Meanwhile, they're over there gaining market share and changing the game. And it all makes sense in a couple of years. And the reason I say that is I really think that people seem to think that they're investing like a stock, like they're buying the next Yahoo or not Yahoo, the next Google or Microsoft or something like that. And guys, the odds are you're not. Tokens are not needed. And the tokens that make it, I don't know what that'll look like in the future, but they're probably going to disappear. All right, check this out. Oasis is working with Providence Blockchain. Now, I did a couple of videos in the last couple of years about Providence. Bear with me, my computer's locking up, but I'll keep talking. Providence Blockchain is a group of banks in America, a large group of banks that have got together. They have a private blockchain built on the Cosmos SDK platform, and they have already tokenized over $12 billion worth of assets. Now, for some reason, my information is not popping up, but go to providence.io, surf around. They're claiming to be the leading layer one in tokenized assets. And the point I want to make about that is, guys, I want you to think about something. And look, there's going to be a lot of tokens probably in this bull run that are going to rip because of the narrative of real world assets. But I want you to think about, who do you think is going to win? All right. If you're a new corporation, like say Ripple doesn't have a lot of customers with a lot of assets. It may have some, but think about it. If JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and BlackRock, just those three entities get together and use the same blockchain and the same ecosystem, they will be by far the most dominant players out there. And the reason is, all they have to do is tokenize the assets that they have under management. So think about it. When you have a corporation like Ripple and the endless amount of people trying to get into that sector, they're going to have to go approach the BlackRock customers, the JP Morgan customers, the Goldman Sachs customers, and try to convert them over. Good luck. And this technology, it can be cloned. And all your major players, just like HSBC, Swift, JP Morgan, all those players have their own private blockchain. And there will be, let's fast forward, say 10 years, there's no need for, 100,000 tokens, which we have now. There's no need for, 20 layer ones. There's probably only going to be 3 to 5 layer 1 ecosystems max that make it. It reminds me exactly of 2000 in the dot-com bubble. There were thousands of corporations that were worth billions of dollars on paper of what they were going to do in the future. And they had a crash and they all literally disappeared what seemed like overnight. But what came from that was Google, Microsoft, Amazon, and some of the biggest corporations in the world. That's probably what's going to happen in crypto. Again, guys, just go do some research of the corporations out there that are moving money and see what their crypto roadmap and game plan looks like. It will blow you away, and it will change the way you see the top, say, 100 market cap tokens. Anyway, go to oasispromarkets.com, surf around, read that article about JP Morgan and Project Guardian. Now, the guy in another one of the podcasts, which was the CEO of Oasis, was talking about how what they're setting up in this ecosystem with tokenized assets is once they get everything planned out and working, it's kind of like it's in beta, that all your financial planners, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and all those guys also are going to be calling their customers and converting them over to Web3. And they're going to tokenize their entire portfolio. And he kind of explained that in the video, which I'll leave a link down below. And JP Morgan had mentioned this on their website years ago. It says, experience the future of wealth management. The proof of concept is a working portfolio construction and management solution that demonstrates how a representative portfolio manager could create, deploy, rebalance, and update a large number of portfolios. He called it mirroring. I can't even say it. But basically, that's what the future is going to look like as it sits right now. Now, check this out. He also mentioned that, that so far, like Ethereum is the chosen one for tokenized assets with like Wall Street. And there's a number of players, Aptos and Arbitrum and Matic, which is basically Ethereum, Solana. Anyway, he mentioned a handful, but he talked about interoperability. Well, when I think of interoperability, I personally own Link and Quant. I love both of those projects. But in the next pump, I'm probably going to sell both of those because he talked about Wormhole is the interoperability solution that they're using. And that's the token that I want to put on your radar. Now go to wormhole.com, surf around. I'm not really going to get into it, but they did a massive airdrop. And here's the good news. Because of the timing, right, we've had a 2-week pullback. This thing launched basically at the 1st of April, and it ran to over $2. Well, right now it's right at $1, a little bit under $1. I personally believe that it's a great price point to start dollar cost averaging in. And I think that Wormhole will absolutely rip when that tokenized assets and the interoperability, that narrative gets even hotter throughout this bull run after the halving. Anyway, guys, that's all I got for you. What I really want you to understand is, we kind of think that our favorite blockchain, let's just say they're in the top 200, are going to be the future. Well, the future probably hasn't even been launched. Maybe it has. Maybe it's Ethereum. Maybe it's HBAR. I don't know. But when you follow the major corporations, they are the dominant players. I don't like that, but they already have the money, the power to regulate. They have the assets under management. So when they tokenize it, guys, they're just going to dominate that sector. And they're already doing it. We just don't know about it because you can't buy their tokens and no one's reporting how big they are. So the big picture, guys, unfortunately, I would say in 10 years, the corporations that we thought were going to be defeated because of Web3 and decentralization and all that, guys, they are going to be the dominant players across the board. And once regulation kicks in and it goes mainstream and they know they can build out their blockchains, then you're going to see the biggest corporations in the world step into blockchain and crypto. Now, I don't know if I said this, but if I said it, it's worth repeating. The CEO of Oasis talked about how the CEOs of major corporations don't like crypto because of the lack of regulation and the liability if they put their customers' money into those projects. And he said, well, the biggest struggle is they don't understand the difference between crypto and blockchain. And he said, here's the simplified way to understand it. Crypto needs blockchain, but blockchain is its own technology. It doesn't need crypto tokens at all. And DLT is going to be the future. You know, I know Jamie Dimon, I'm not a fan of, at JP Morgan, he's been caught saying countless times that crypto's a scam and blockchain is the future. And at first I didn't understand it, but the token is basically only being used for speculation and to grow these companies and these ecosystems. If you want to really understand it, go study the business model of Ripple. It's absolutely amazing. Ripple is not XRP, but if you understand how Ripple uses XRP, it will all start to make sense. And Ripple is making a killing. It's a beautiful blueprint for any corporation. And I think a lot of corporations are going to follow in the footsteps of Ripple. But it's not XRP that's going to win. It's not the XRP holders that's going to win. It's going to be the people that own the corporation of Ripple, and it's going to be Brad and David and all the founders of XRP who use XRP to fund the future of Ripple, which is going to absolutely explode. And I could dive on and on into that, and it would make a lot more sense. But I want to encourage you guys to do some research. Stop studying XRP, study how Ripple uses XRP as cash flow and how it is the backbone of the they sell XRP, dump on the retail community, and then put that back into Ripple and explode that corporation. Anyway, I could go on, and I want to just bring something to your attention. I'm going to make another video about this, but Wednesday at noon, this following Wednesday, April the 11th, I finally found an XRP influencer that wants to debate me, and we can get out the misinformation about XRP. So I'm looking forward to that. So if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. That way you'll know when that debate is going to be. It's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited to get the misinformation out there because, guys, I take my money serious, and there's not any other blockchain out there that has more lies and misinformation about it than Ripple and XRP. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section. Hit that like button, and either way, come back and be part of this community. And remember, not financial advice. And let me know what you think about Wormhole in the comment section. Take care, guys.